Hi everyone. So I know the New York Times just came out with the top 100 books in this century. I've been very excited to look through that list, and I've been adding a lot to my TBR, of course. But I just kind of felt like there wasn't enough women, in the top, especially the top 20. And even the ones that were there were not necessarily women writing about women. So I decided to make my own list of my favorite books of all time that were written by women about women. And I'm going to do it in the style of a little guessing game using the first line of each book. I'm going to go from 1 to 10 because my early ones are kind of obvious. My number one book, I can't believe I cannot find a copy of it in my house. It's ridiculous. But the first line is, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife." This book instilled a love of enemies to lovers, of course. But this one, which is obviously Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, as well as her other books. I mean, all of them could be on this list. Persuasion, Northanger Abbey, Sense and Sensibility, and Mansfield Park and Emma. I mean, they're so much about finding humor in the follies of humans, but also about fixing the ones in yourself. They are, mwah. Okay, number 2, there was no possibility of taking a walk that day. This book instilled my love of Grumpy Sunshine, if you can call her that. It also taught me that meekness does not have to equal weakness. Girl, get it. Of course, this is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And side note, if you like Jane Eyre, you should also read Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. I mean, this book changed me also. It should probably have its own spot on this list, but there was a lot contending for this list. Now, number 3, I actually have a copy in front of me, so I'm going to read it to you from the book. May in Ayamenem is a hot, brooding month. The days are long and humid. The river shrinks, and black crows gorge on bright mangoes in still, dust-green trees. Red bananas ripen, jackfruits burst. Dissolute bluebottles hum vacuously in the fruity air. Then they stun themselves against clear window panes and die, fatly baffled in the sun. I mean, so this book overwhelmed me with the beauty of the writing, how the structure of the plot so perfectly assembles the story in a way to just knock you off your feet. And as I've said before, this is the only book I've ever finished and then turned right back to the beginning and read again. And that is The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. Number 4, I also don't have a physical copy of, which is stupid. I listened to it on audiobook and amazing. This morning, Reno telephoned. I thought he wanted money again, and I was ready to say no, but that was not the reason for the phone call. His mother was gone. This book and the whole 4-book series so incredibly captured the reality of a female friendship, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and showed just how circumstances play a role in your life. And that is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante, as well as all 4 Neapolitan novels. Book number 5, They Shoot the White Girl First. This book taught me about the importance of women holding each other up, helping each other, comforting each other, and how much power there is in that. This book is Paradise by Toni Morrison. I read it 25 years ago, and it has never left my soul. It was hard to pick between this one and Sula. They are both incredible, but Paradise is the one for this list. Women writing about women. Goddamn. All right, number 6, I also can't find my copy of. But here's the first line. We slept in what had once been the gymnasium. How can you have a by women about women list without this book? This book hovers horrifyingly just on the outside of possible. In fact, I had to stop watching the show because it felt too possible. And that, of course, is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I also can't find my hard copy of number 7, which is weird because I read this one as an actual book, not as an audiobook, so it's somewhere. But it was a queer, sultry summer, the summer they electrocuted the Rosenbergs, and I didn't know what I was doing in New York. This book showed me the insidiousness of mental health issues, especially in women. The scary thing was I empathized with this character so hard all the way down that I didn't even realize she was losing it. It's terrifying and it's beautiful, and it is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Number 8, I actually have. Yay. You Better Not Never Tell Nobody But God. It'd kill your mammy. Again, I read this book in high school and I've never forgotten it. And I don't just mean the plot. I mean like specific lines have lived in my head rent-free. This book is about looking through the trauma to find the beauty in the world. And it made me want to hug my sister. It is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. Okay, number 9. The old woman remembered a swan she had bought many years ago in Shanghai for a foolish sum. This book taught me about the complexities of what it means to be an immigrant, but also to raise your children in America as an immigrant. But this book is more about what it means to be a woman, and it shows us this over and over through many different women, different types of women. I made my husband read this on our honeymoon, and he loved it so much he now teaches it every year to his 8th grade English class. It is, in fact, The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. I really struggled to make this list, and before I do number 10, I have to shout out some honorable mentions. I'm not going to read the first lines, I'm just going to show you what they are. Obviously, Their Eyes Were Watching God, Zora Neale Hurston. Janie will forever live in my head. Beaches, Iris Rainier Dart. I've talked about this before. This book changed my life in 4th grade. Female friendships to the end. This book probably could have been on the actual list, but I didn't put it there because it's a play. But The Heidi Chronicles by Wendy Wasserstein, this play absolutely changed my life when I experienced it for the first time in college. I'd never felt so seen. We all have a scoop in our life. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I put this in honorable mention because it's not so much about a woman as it is between the friendship between Sam and Sadie, but it's an unforgettable book. Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. I've mentioned this one a lot. Women, midlife crisis, staying true to yourself, it's all in there. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Again, it's here because it's more about Atticus than Scout, but again, unforgettable, life-changing. And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I had to mention this one because Agatha Christie is the highest-selling female author of all time, and this book is OG. It's not really just about women, although there are some cool women in this book, but gotta mention her. The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. This book got me out of a slump many years ago, and it swept me away, and it altered my heart. I also feel the need to shout out some YA books that really deserve a place on this list. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I really toyed with having this as my number 10 just because of its impact alone. Katniss shot her arrows into the hearts of every girl and just did something to our psyches. Walk Two Moons by Sharon Creech. This book destroys you, but in such a beautiful way. You can't not be affected by this book. Okay, Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging by Louise Renison. I gotta put this on here. Yes, it's silly, but I read it and then I immediately read the entire rest of the series. What a perfect capturing of being a horny teenage girl. If you like Derry Girls, you would like this series. All right, and for number 10 of my list of best books by women about women, here's the first line. I'm gonna cut out her name. Blank hoped her parents would forget to give her a little talking to. She did not want anything to spoil this exciting day. This book didn't just affect me. My son is obsessed. My husband is obsessed. I've never read a book series that so perfectly encapsulates what it's like to be a child, especially a young girl. It is so timeless and relevant. It is the Ramona Quimby series by Beverly Cleary. It is hard to pick a fave. Ramona and her father is particularly good because it's dark and it deals with her father losing his job and then Ramona having to kind of deal with his mental health crisis. But Ramona and her mother is really the one for this list because it's really about her relationship with her mother and her sister and having to kind of understand the female experience that they're also going through. Chef's freaking kiss. All right, and that's my list of 10 best books with some others by women about women. Do you agree? Do you have others you think should be on this list? Let me know and I'll see you next time. Bye.